After 6 months trapped in a hospital in the middle of a war zone, she knew it was time to go home. She walked ever so steadily to her car after one of the longest days at the hospital. Somebody with very little context to the situation might have anticipated that she was skipping to her car in order to let loose after a long day at work. On the contrary, she was skipping over landmines that were trailing behind her as she was trying to get to a pickup point as fast as she could. She had to learn how to identify where the mines were hidden so that she could avoid them. If she made one wrong step, her life would have ended before her eyes. No car has crossed this road in years, as the mines would have blown away any vehicle immediately. A sense of relief overcame her as she crossed the road, avoiding the trail of landmines that left her in a life or death situation. Once she crossed the hazardous street, she called a taxi who happened to be a Sunni Muslim driving in a Christian territory. While religious tension triumphed over all else in Lebanon, the driver needed to feed his family, and she needed a ride back home. On her way home, she could hear the rumbling of bombs trailing behind her as she left her pursuit in medicine in Lebanon to better a life in the United States. But why did she leave? In 1975, Lebanon was split between Christians and Muslims. Conflict and violence raged all through the next decade and a half, and Sunni and Shia Muslims were teaming up against the Christians. However, the causes of the conflict began much earlier. After the Holocaust, the United Nations created Israel as a place of refuge for the displaced Jews from Western and Eastern Europe. What is now Israel was once Palestine, and therefore the people of Palestine were forced out of what had been their home into countries such as Jordan and Lebanon. The influx of Palestinians into the small country of Lebanon with limited resources caused internal conflicts and political divisions within the country. Most of the Palestinians that entered Lebanon were forced into refugee camps awaiting a political solution to their conflict at home. The Lebanese people and their representatives were divided on whether to kick the refugees out or provide support for them. On April 13, 1975, the first official shots of the Lebanese Civil War were shot into a church where the organizer of the Lebanese militia was killed. Christians and Muslims began to attack each other as they took sides with different parts of the Lebanese militia. Even the capital of Lebanon, Beirut, was divided into two, with the Muslims ruling over West Beirut and the Christians ruling over East Beirut. After years of brutal conflict, the Lebanese army finally collapsed in 1984. By 1990, the country was divided even further. The Shia Muslims attacked the Sunni Muslims, while the Maronite Christians were split between political leaders. My mother recounts these 2 years as the worst of the war, and the reason she and many others chose to leave. While the war changed many aspects of her life, the last 2 years, from 1990 to 1992, were what led to the mass immigration to other countries, like that of Brazil, Australia, the United States, Canada, and other places of refuge. However, unlike the Syrian refugee crisis, it was only the wealthy Lebanese who left, while the poor ones stayed. Moving to the United States was no easy task either. She left the life of turmoil and displacement in Lebanon to receive anything but a warm welcome from the United States. She struggled for 8 years trying to get her green card, all the while finishing up her residency in a prestigious hospital. While immigrants face different hardships, there is always the common goal of wanting to start a better life for oneself and their family.